It just gets better, guys. One of the rods has come off of the gearbox on the gear lever on the 106 Rally on the way home. I definitely should not have got out of bed today. So things do seem to have picked up a little bit at the beginning of this month on car sales. I've got a lady who's rung me up who initially wanted to see the red KA and asked me to do a walk around video for a personalised walk around video for her that, but has now rung up and says she wants to see a walk around video of the white KA because she hadn't realised this was Cat N even though it's in the advert. Strange one for me, 32,000 miles, 2013, 2011, 70,000 miles, 2795, 2795. Now in my mind, Cat N or not, a car that's 2013 with 32,000 miles on it is going to be the one I go for over a 2011 with 70,000 miles. At the end of the day, if you keep this car for 2 or 3 years and come to sell it on, no one's going to care that it's Cat, because it's probably going to be around about that £2,000 mark, and then it's going to be conditioned, it's going to be everything in terms of purchasing the car. So really, for me, strange decision making process. Brand new MOT, serviced, same spec. Well, I guess you've got alloys on this one, maybe that's a slight difference, but I certainly wouldn't be going for a car that's 2 years older with double the mileage just because it's had a bumper and a wing on it, when you damn well know that's probably had a bumper and a wing on it. But there you go. I'm here to sell cars, I'm not here to change people's minds, I'm not going to push anything on anyone, they can go for what they like, but just the mentality is slightly strange for me. Welcome back to Chops Garage. As car sales are slow at the moment, I thought best thing to do would be get onto the MGB wide body Sebring project, because I've got quite a bit of cash tied up in this, and when it's ready and up for sale it should turn over a tidy profit. Plus I want to get out on it, don't I? So what we're doing today is the plan is to paint the engine bay, because what I want to do is get the engine and gearbox back in again, up and running, because all the running gear is done, so the car can be driven, and then I can get on with the bodywork side of things, especially with needing a new unit coming up. I want the car to be movable. So I'd already started by taking all the old paint off. There's just a few areas I need to do today, like in these chassis rail areas here, to get all the old paint and grime off of them. I want to get it all back to bare metal. All this grey stuff here is the epoxy primer I put on last time I did some of the bare metaling, but I'll take most of that back off again, recoat it again. So it's just lots of labour today. I'm using the drill bit wire brush on a drill bit. I'm using a grinder with a brush head on it, and just getting in all the nooks and crannies, getting all the crud out, so that I can then use this stuff. Stuart's given me this corrosion sealer, which I'm going to spray over the entire engine bay, which converts and seals any surface rust, and then it will be a coat of filler primer and then a coat of the red, which is the original MGB flame red I've got here. No, tartan red. I think we've got tartan red. Yeah, I think so. And I am, as always, going to be rattle canning. The reason I'm rattle canning is because I might end up having to do sections at a time. If I go for 2K in rattle cans, it will go off. If I mix up a load of paint, I'll have to do it in one shot with a spray gun. And again, I want to not put up lots of dust and dirt while doing it. So we're getting the rattle can route again. So the MGB engine bay, after sanding it down yesterday, it's in these shiny areas. You can't really see in this light, can you? Gave it a spray over with that coating to encapsulate the rust, surface rust, because obviously I've cut out any actual rust. Encapsulate surface rust, convert it. Now I'm going over with the Scotch Pad King up, because I'm going to be filler priming it, ready for painting. So we're progressing. It's very time consuming, as you can imagine. There's a lot of nooks and crannies to get in, but if you don't key up properly, it's going to flake off again on you. So again, with tartan red is the colour we're going for, which is an original MGB colour, and then there's going to be white highlights on it, English white highlights on it for the Sebring kit. So on the front valances, and on the side discs that'll be English white, but tartan red what's going down. This is a 1K rattle can because I want to be able to flatten, polish any of my mistakes easily, and I don't want the cans to go off if it's 2K. Once you activate the can, it's hard and goes off, and then you can't reuse the can, so that's why I'm going 1K. And also, those connections are a bit of an art to get right. So the main shirt that we have, because the camera is the most different. So as normal, guys, you can see we put a dust coat on before we started putting a second heavier coat on. I'm going to work in all the nooks and crannies first, get all the full colour down there, and then I'll be able to flow across the areas that are going to be more in your line of sight so that they've got a better finish. So 10 minutes between coats as normal, let it flash off so it's still tacky enough to take the next coat. Don't lay on too much too quick, otherwise it will flake off in all the corners, that kind of thing. So obviously a big gun, a lot easier than rattle canning, but the booth is busy, the gun's tied up, and I want to get the engine back in. So that's second coat on, guys. You're going to notice that there's no real shine to any of the paint because I've been doing it from a bit of a distance and more dusting it on because I want it to be nice and grabby. The way to get the shine on it now is to do wet coats. By that what I mean is I'll be slower with the can. Now that I know I've got it on all the nooks and crannies and I'm not going to be left with any grey areas, I can now do these wider areas with a nice slow pass. That'll let the paint build up heavier and will leave it with more of a shine. But if I did that straight away, as I've said 1,000 times, it would just come off away from the primer behind. What I've got here is sort of a slightly gritty, tacky surface. That means my heavy coats are going to stay stuck. Right guys, we have a problem. The last coat of colour went on, but in between that, Stu had some work on, so I put a plastic sheet over the engine bay before I put the final coats on. What I didn't check was, had anything come off the plastic sheet, and it has. I don't know if you can see there, but you've got these tiny little fibres of something. So this has got to now harden off, and I'm going to have to sand all this and give it another coat of paint. So big pain in the bum, massive pain in the bum, because it's delaying it all, and means a lot of work again. So rookie error. After I took the plastic sheet off, I should have tack cloth the surface again to make sure there wasn't any dust transferred, and that sheet obviously had something in it, and it's left these tiny fibres all over the paint. They're very low fibres, but paint shows up everything. So like I say, got to sand it again. I don't think it went back here because I didn't repaint this section, so it's just sort of these areas here. Thing is, a lot of this is going to be covered up when I put all the bits and bobs back in the engine bay, but it's going to continuously bother me, so it's going to have to be done. So yeah, got to let it go off now. Like I always say, when things go wrong with paint, leave it, come back to it another day. Don't try and fix it there and then, because if I try and sand it now, it's too soft and I'll cause myself other problems. So I'll let it go off for a few days now, and then see where we are with it. So we need to leave the MGB engine bay to harden off for a couple of days before I start sanding back and redoing that. Frustrating, but needs to be done. So got the rally in to have a check over it, potentially paint the wheels. Thought I'd have a little look underneath because I hadn't done that yet. And actually, pretty pleased. I can see there's a little bit of a patch being done here, but the rest of it is all really solid. I'm pleasantly surprised. All the boot floor corners are good. All the sills are good. You know, it's crusty, but I mean, some bushes that could do with replacing. And but my plan was strip all this off and then undercoat the side of the body and tidy up, but I was expecting to have to do a little bit of welding, but by the looks of it, other than this patch here, which needs properly cleaning and tidying up, it's actually really good. So pleasantly surprised with that. So the quick job on the wheels. You guys know the score with me, rattle can time. So we've got Halford's Appliance White, which all the rally boys say is as close as damn it to what the colour Peugeot put on. We will sandblast the wheels and get them properly powder coated later on, but for the moment we're just looking for a tidy up. So we're going to get these off today. We're going to wire brush them, clean them up, primer them a bit, get some of this on, and I've got some fresh tyres on the way. So I've taken a wire brush to the wheels, taken all the loose paint and loose rust off. Now I'm giving them a really good clean afterwards. Now I've got the heat lamp on just to make sure they're dried out and I haven't got any water in the nooks and crannies, which will really upset the paint when it goes on. I've got to put a rust converter on these areas of rust, and then we're going to get the Appliance White from Halford's on there and give them a good few coats. You can use the old card trick, stuff the cards in around the side, and probably move them off this wrap because otherwise I'll get overspray onto the tyres that they're being changed anyway. Again, this is not the restoration of these wheels. Let's be 100% clear about that. These, when it comes to restoration of the car, the tyres will come off, the wheels will be sandblasted both inside and on the face. Then they'll be off for powder coating, so we'll be spending about £400 doing the wheels, as opposed to today £18 on appliance white, just to tidy these wheels up, make them look that little bit better. So yeah, we're just gotta say wait for the get all the moisture out before we put anything on. Otherwise, the moisture will wreck your paint job. Just another quick thing as well. A lot of you have been asking about the property search. No luck so far, guys. Thanks for all of you that are commenting and giving me tip-offs on where you think stuff is. Unfortunately, it needs to be, just so everybody knows what I'm actually looking for, I want to have at least this much room. So I want to have something that I've got at least room for one ramp and a couple of cars inside, so that I can carry on, keep my hands dirty, doing a little bit here and there. And then outside, I want room for at least 10 cars. I don't care if it's in the middle of the sticks. I don't really mind that because people buy online these days anyway. But it does need to be able to have, like I say, about this much room in it for one ramp at least and one car in front of it, and about 10 cars outside is about the score. So yeah, thanks for your tip-offs. If you keep an eye out, it will really be helpful. A few places that were suitable don't want to do cars, don't want to do car sales. It seems to be a bit of a thing at the moment. I found a few yards that are quite cool. I mean, down here I can get a yard that's flipping half an acre for about, you know, £500–600, but you're talking about just literally dirt ground. I'd have to put a building on it and then get power and electric to it, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, again, the landlord's not on my case saying that we need to stop selling right this second, but there is the question, should I be buying more stock when she said we've got to stop selling cars? Should I really be buying more stock? That's a bit of a dilemma at the moment. So that's kind of why I'm pressing on with the Rally, pressing on with the MGB, specifically the MGB, so that it's running and driving, so when I need to move I can. And I've got quite a lot of money tied up in it, so if I work on this and get it ready, I should be ready to sell it. Because the thing with these cars is when you make a mint, which that will be once it's all done, your best profit is when you've just finished it. You start driving it around, put stone chips on it and wreck it, it's worth nothing. So which is one of the reasons why I've said many times that my Rally is just being kept usable at the moment, so that I don't end up getting it to a point where I don't want to use it. But yeah, thanks again for the tip-offs on the premises. Keep letting me know, because down here in Devon a lot of stuff is done word of mouth, so some of you might know someone. Right, I'll brave the rain for you guys for a minute or two, just to tell you what's happening. Things have hotted up a little bit. I had a call this Saturday morning, had a call this morning on someone coming to see the Alto. I've sold the KA, that's going down to Cornwall, and I've got someone else coming to see the black KA. Reduced all the prices on them. That one's 2,795 for 2013 with 80,000. That's 2,695 for 2011 with 70,000 on. That's 1,795 now for the Alto with the 2009 with the brand new MOT with 90,000 miles on it. The lady decided not to go for the red KA with 32,000 miles on in 2013 because of the Cat N thing, which in my mind is strange. Two Yaris with 100,000 miles on, still no interest at all. So 100,000, 108,000 miles. I'm now only asking 2,595 and 2,495. So 2008. So 2009 that one is, sorry, 2009 new MOT, service, full service history. 2011 new MOT, full service history, just had a service as well. It's the mileage thing, I think. People are obsessed with mileage. I like the KAs, I like the little Fiat engine, but in no doubt in my mind that these with 100k on, if you want the longevity, I mean, they're bigger cars. The 1.3 engine is really nice in these. You know, they are pretty bulletproof little cars. I've just put a clutch in that one, haven't I? In my mind, despite the fact I've got 100,000 miles, I'd probably still have it over an 80,000 or a 70,000 mile KA, but that's my personal opinion. The metallic grey Micra, still getting no interest at all at the moment. That one is 2,195 on a 2012 with 50,000 miles. I thought they would have interest. I'm going to put a brand new MOT on it when it sells, but no real interest in that, and no interest in the Dacia yet. But it has only been about a week, which the more expensive cars, that isn't that unusual, to be honest. So, will the people turn up and look at these other 2 cars today? Not sure. People don't always do what they say they're going to do, but if that goes, I'll have, if those did go, I'd have 3 out of the lineup, and I'd be going from saying that things aren't where they need to be to saying I need to go and get some stock. But that's the way the industry goes, guys. You've got to take the peaks with the troughs. So while we're seeing whether they turn up or not, we'll get back on to those wheels. Just a quick rant though before I get back onto those wheels. For those idiots in the comments that come along and go, these Yaris with 100,000 miles on only worth £1,000, I reply to them every time and I say, send me a link to one of those you can find at a dealer with a warranty, with a full service history, with a new MOT, with a new clutch just fitted for £1,000. You send me the link to those cars and I'll still buy them. Even though I've got it sitting here, I'll still buy them. You're talking utter rubbish. Utter rubbish. So please, just save yourself. Make yourself look like idiots. It takes 2 seconds of searching on a search engine and find you're talking utter rubbish. So save yourself the time of typing it. But actually no, do keep on typing it, because some of you better fans on there comment and it's only boosting the algorithm up. So go on then, keep putting your stupid comments on there. It'll only help boost the video. So the afternoon's not gone as planned. The rally wheels, despite using primers, we've got a reaction with the old paint. I think the only option is to get them completely stripped to paint them. I've left them as they are for the moment. I haven't tried to sand back the reaction and paint it again, because I know that they need to go bare metal and be painted that way. So for the moment I'll just go back on the car as they are until I get them shot blasted, and then take it from there. I think what's happened, I mean, I'm using the Halfords 1K appliance paint. I think it's a 1K paint. I don't know how it's reacting with the primers I've used. Sometimes, you know, mixing different makes of primers and so forth can give you problems. Probably going to look better on it than they did rusty, but and at least I've only used 2 cans, so I think I'm about £12 into materials for it. So it's just a lot of my time wasted, really, more than anything. But I knew they weren't going to be perfect anyhow, so again, they'll look better than a rusty one. And then the people that were coming to see the Ford KAs, well, the chap that said he was coming to see the Alto didn't turn up, which is not unknown in this game. And then the couple of ladies that came to see the Ford KAs, well, that was a really weird one. The 2 of them had the keys for these 2 and kept driving them around here and then swapping between each other before I really knew what was going on. A bit strange. They just kept bombing around and then swapping each other just on the industrial estate here, swapping between each other. And then they wanted to try the Yaris's out, despite the fact they just told me they were going to look at a Ford KA on a 2013 or 14, no, 2014 with only 5,000 miles in it or something. They wanted to look at the 100,000 mile Yaris's. And then the 2 of them bombed around in the 2 of those, swapping between the 2 of them. And then they asked me if I could part exchange their S-Max, is it? The Ford S-Max. And then one of the other ones started going on about her Audi had dented rear wing and a bumper and 190,000 miles on it. Would I part X that? And I got very confused as to whether they're having 1 car, 2 cars. And it turned out they wanted a car for the other one's son. And as I said, they said they'd been to look at this other Ford KA with 5,000 miles on 2014 that was like 5.5 grand. Well, my KAs are like nearer 2.5 grand. Albeit one's got 32,000, one's got 8,000. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what was going through their head. At this point, a number of you are probably saying, James, you shouldn't have let them drive both cars around. And when they started to muck you around on those, you shouldn't have let them drive the Yaris's. To be honest, I let them get on with it while I was faffing around with the wheels. But yes, it's one of those ones, can I try every car out? And that's to the point where you're actually supposed to say, no, you can't try every car out, what's your problem? Or as my friend on Flipping Cars for Profit would say, F off. But yeah, obviously the the inquiries have started coming out the woodwork, but whether they're of the quality, I mean, my conversion rate is normally, I have to say, when someone comes to see me about a car, 9 times out of 10 I sell them that car. Not by pressure selling, just because I've got the right cars at the right prices. And that's really the first time I've experienced that. The chap didn't come on the Alto. Well, again, years and years of sales in me knows that, makes me know that what I should do at that point is get that person to commit to a time, because if they're serious, they'll give me a time. If they're not serious, they won't. But to be honest, after flipping, so many years, having the old sales pressure and doing all those sales classes and all this kind of stuff, I wanted to take a bit of a step away from all of that. But going forward, I must get back into the habit of being a better salesperson and pinning people down on times when they come in to see vehicles. And obviously the old sales rule, you've got to ask lots of questions and try and pin people down exactly on what they're looking for, rather than let them dance all over the place and try 101 different things out. So yeah, the afternoon didn't go quite as planned on any front really, but them's the breaks, I guess. I should always be thankful for the fact that I am doing what I love doing, as many of you say in the comments when I talk about profits and so forth. I am doing what I love doing. I spent my Saturday afternoon playing with cars. A few people came to see some cars. Something might come off it, something might not come off of it. No point stressing over it. The only thing is now is I can't really go home in the rally because the wheels need to dry off. So yeah, I'm not quite sure I'm going to go home. I guess I should take one of the sales cars home. Or do I stick the wheels on because they're pants anyway and drive them as they are? Because if they get dirt and crud in them now, at the end of the day, like I say, they're going to have to be sandblasted again anyway. But I think I've been chasing my tail for the last couple of hours. I'll sit, have a coffee and then make a decision as to what I'm doing after that. Hope not too much ramblings on for you guys today. You'll notice we've got another resto in. Some of you might like this GTV V6. Come from somewhere else. I won't name it because I don't know it. But some scary stuff going on. We were told this car was coming in and just needed a quick flick over of paint. It needed just to respray. It was already in primer and hadn't had any filler. Well, we've got filler all in here. You can see it everywhere. When they sprayed it, they decided not to bother covering anything up. It's all over the plastics. Sorry for the light. Over the horn, over the wiring loom, everywhere. And down the door jambs here, there's something going on. I'm not sure what they've done there. They've sprayed all over the door lock, things that should be black here. Horrible job. And I told the customer they've changed out the cam belt and done a work on the engine. You can't quite see in this light, but it's absolutely covered in dust and crud. But that's Stu's side of the business. And I should be on Monday be able to flat this back, as it's had 3 or 4 days now. And I'm not allowed to paint this week, am I? You guys always comment that I get good paint finishes. Guys, it's a bit of a pain in the bum doing paint a lot of times. Silly little problems. This one I'm still kicking myself over putting that plastic sheet on, pulling it off and then not tack clothing again before I put the paint on, otherwise this would be done and dusted. Now I've got to flat everything back and paint it again. There you go. Anyway, I'm just kind of walking around rambling today, aren't I? But hopefully some of it's of interest to you guys. So while the wheels are drying in the state that they are, we're going to see if we can do something a bit more productive. We've got the speed sensor up here. Let's try and get the camera where you can see it. Got the speed sensor here on the 106 Rally, and I've got a flickering speedo, and I think it's a speed sensor. It's a very common one, so I've got hold of this one, and we're going to try and swap it over. Now it looks, famous last words, like it is a 10mm bolt holding it in and an electrical clip there to take out, so should be relatively simple. But the way today's going, we don't know, do we? So let's give it a go, see if we can get it swapped out. So old one's out, new one's in. Relatively simple so far. I'm saying so far. as I've got to get the clip back in, get the wiring back in, clip back in, and get the cable back in the top there. So we'll see how easy that is. Well, that's the perfect finish of the day, guys. The speedo cable changeover speed sensor made no difference, so it must be behind the dash side of things that's the problem. So today you can probably put it down as a completely wasted day, spending loads of time with people that aren't buying, spending loads of time doing wheels that have reacted, changing over that didn't make any difference. Just the way it is, I guess. Tomorrow's another day, move on, and take it from there. This may well be the end of this video. I'm not sure. I'll decide later on or not, guys. But again, as always, thanks for listening to my ramblings, and catch you again soon. It just gets better, guys. One of the rods has come off of the gearbox on the gear lever on the 106 Rally on the way home. I definitely should not have got out of bed today. You can only laugh. Well, at least I can get gears. Anyway, see you again soon.